Okay, welcome to Tetris Tuesdays at 10. I'm Ryan, and I may or may not have prattled on for a good 6 minutes already, thinking that I had... The way I have the streaming set up is that I can get a picture of what's going on before I hit the go live button. So I am technically streaming, it's just that I'm the only one that knows it. So in a lot of ways, this show is for me more than anybody. This week we're going to take it down a notch after 2 full weeks of really digging into Tetris, the Absolute, the Grandmaster 2, Tetris, the Grandmaster 2, the Absolute. Why? Which is a very specific, the Tetris TGM2, there we go, is a game that very specifically asks you that you play Tetris in a certain way. Shy Abby already in the chat, and tell you, let's stop. I'm going to stop the show dead in its tracks right now. Shy Abby, is it? I feel like I'm saying your name wrong. Shy Abai. Shy Abai. Because then it would rhyme, and then it would make sense. So I feel like I've just been saying it wrong the whole time. Abi. Just call me Shy. You don't want me to sit here and murder it for the next 30 minutes? So Shy, welcome to the chat. Shy can attest to this. TGM2 asks you to play Tetris in a very specific way, which I like. That's part of the reason I like this series, is because we take a game that's like ostensibly the same, throughout however many iterations, but isn't, has all these tweaks and things about it that are require you to play it in a certain way. TGM, in fact, I would gather the entire TGM series, even though I've only played 1 and 2 and bits of 3 at PAX, are all like that, and many other Tetris games besides. This week, not so much, although I feel like after the fact they may have added some of those hooks. Because this week we're playing N-Blox, is what it's called or was called, is kind of an exemplar in 2 different ways. It's, number one, started out as a Flash game, which I feel like in 2001 that was where things were headed, or I don't know if we were already in the heyday of Flash games, but it was certainly a going concern for gaming, I will say. Yeah, Shy in the chat, wait, N-Blox is an officially licensed game. Yeah, the other way it's an exemplar, I will say, is I want to say Bombless, I'm pretty sure, which was developed by a person outside of the Tetris company. At the time, I don't know how official the Tetris company was. The rights reverted to LXI in the 90s at some point. I want to say late 80s at the earliest. So the Tetris company came shortly after that, him and Hank Rogers. But what they did with Bombless was they found that guy, and I think, in fact, in some of the talking heads in Tetris Forever, some of the interviews, you can see Hank talking about it, where he's like, we could have pursued legal action and just got the game taken off of, or not developed, I guess, at that point. Not taken off the web, because I don't think that's how it existed or how many did exist. But he brought him in-house, and Bombless became something that showed up on official Tetris releases, Tetris 2, Super Tetris, whichever. Or I think there was a Super Tetris 2, maybe. In any event, N-Blox is that. Yeah, it was developed, made, created, coded, however you want to put that, by Paul Neave is his name. And in fact, there was another person in the chat not too many episodes ago, or quite possibly 20 episodes ago, that pointed out that developers themselves like Tetris because it's kind of a coding 101. Everybody can make their own Tetris, which is why I'm going to say at the time in 2001, a lot of people had. I don't think N-Blox is the only one of these. I think there were a bunch of Tetris-likes out there, and the Tetris company did not bring them all in-house, let's say. They had to shut down some of them, and I'm not, saying they shouldn't have. Copyright is obviously a huge mess nowadays, but I think you can make a case that Tetris had to do something at some point because, yeah, there was Tetrises everywhere. And you could make them on your own and put them out in a Flash manner. The version we're going to play this week is not on Flash, and it does kind of bug me because I've gone out of my way to recreate as authentic an experience as I can for myself. You know, if it was a Tetris that came out on a PC, I've got my mechanical keyboard that I've been hooking up. I even try to stay away from my laptop keyboard for that matter, just because it's not ideal in a lot of these cases. I'm going to break a few rules this week, essentially. Keyboard gameplay. Yeah, unfortunately, that's the first rule I'm going to break, Shy. Because, yeah, I would imagine as a Flash game in 2001, you're playing this on your computer, you're probably playing it with your keyboard. It automatically maps, and this is where I don't know how accurate the representation is. The game is still out there. I'm going to play it off of a web page. It doesn't run in Flash anymore because nothing does, because that whole thing happened. It runs on HTML5 now, and they've added in a few things since. In fact, they're careful to note that hard drop wasn't even in the original version of the game. So I'm going to be taking advantage of that because I think there's still a score bonus for it as well. And then you'll see some, I'll show you the options screen, but they make it so you can change options that you can't change in a lot of other Tetrises. Is the other reason I decided to put this on the list, because I think it's at least a little bit unique. RIP Flash, yeah. Yes, nostalgia-wise, RIP Flash. In many other ways, I have this complicated relationship with Adobe because I edited on Premiere for so long. So let's say yes, rest in peace Flash. That we had some good times, but you died. The other thing they did, in fact it says, so it launched in 2001, and then the legal action from the Tetris company came in 2005. So that's when they came in-house. 2009, they were full-on acquired by the Tetris company. And I guess there was a Tetris Friends website, which actually sounds pretty cool. Why didn't I click on that before? Hold on. Clicking on the Tetris Friends website, it does not come up. Oh, it comes up as a Tetris Wiki entry as a Facebook release. TetrisFriends.com came out in 2008. No link. Okay, so we might be revisiting that. That would be fun, especially if there's an actual functional thing of that up. There is a functional thing of N-Blox still up. It now has the Tetris logo because it has been acquired. Let's see what else, what other changes. Since it is HTML5, they've added in all the settings I'm going to show you in a second. I promise I'll shut up. Local leaderboards and 2 other arrangements of Korobiniki from the Tetris.com game. So we'll get some fun music in here too while we're at it. So I think that's probably enough. My point was that this is not a step down, but certainly we are chilling out for a second when it comes to Tetrises. I also had the release date of Tetris Worlds incorrect. So if last week you heard me say we were going to do Tetris Worlds this week, the Game Boy Advance version, which I do want to start with because I feel like I've been giving short shrift to the Game Boy versions of stuff. In fact, I think I'm maybe going to go back and do some of the Game Boy versions of stuff I've been skipping, but the Game Boy Advance version of Tetris Worlds came out September 5th. So we're going to stick with the April 28th original release of N-Blox here. So let's get to it. I got the audio sorted too, so it's not going to crap out or mess up whatever it did last time. And I will, last thing I'll say, since I am not doing this on a keyboard, bringing it onto the controller, I had to do it by way of a third-party app, credit where credit is due, called Joy Mapper for the Mac. And given the logo, I think it's made so that you can use your Joy-Cons, Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons on a PC or Mac. But I'm using it to make my Xbox controller actually do what the game thinks I should be doing. So here goes N-Blox. We're going to start at level 1. Oh, here's the settings screen I was telling you about. So I didn't mess with any of these. I just made it so the controller will give those inputs. But these are the settings that I was like, not a lot of Tetrises that I can even remember up until this point had the ability to change the auto repeat delay or the auto repeat speed. That's kind of crazy. The gameplay is a little weird on N-Blox. Yeah, you can definitely tell that's part of the fun. In fact, I know I'm doing official Tetrises at this point, but I do have it in my head at some point that like I just want to play the left field Tetrises that are out there, or find out how to recreate some of these illegal Tetrises back in the day. In fact, I saw that they've finally successfully archived in a way that you can pull down the Tetris for the iPod with the click wheel. So I really wish I hadn't sold my iPod with a click wheel now at this point, because I'm thinking of getting it just to play that Tetris. How else would you play it? You can't emulate those. Anyway, so this is cool. And then the music, which I think used to be a hotkey, it kind of used to be a hidden thing on N-Blox where you could just hit it and it would start playing the music. You can actually choose it here, and there's 3 different types. So let's start with type 1. I'm also guessing this is a bit sharper. There's also, I also have to get used to just when I was learning to rotate in more than one direction, I now have to kind of relearn it. It's a little loud in my ear. I mean, it feels tight enough. It's definitely not, like I said, it feels like a homemade Tetris game of sorts still. In fact, I'd be curious why. I don't know the story. I did try to look it up. I don't know the story of why this particular Tetris game made the leap where others didn't. Like, obviously, like I said, they couldn't bring every Tetris clone in-house, but they did do it for N-Blox. Nope, not what there's no wall kicks. So that's one way to find out and tell you that there are no wall kicks in this. That is something that, in fact, I would love to, that would be like next level Tetris Tuesday, is I find Paul Neave. In fact, that's what I should have done. I should have at least Googled Paul Neave and seen like where he's at, what he's doing, because does this not have wall kicks because he didn't know like that was a thing? Did he not want to put it in here? Like, what's that? I would also bet that this is sharper than the original looked, like they maybe did some graphical upgrades, or I mean, who knows, I guess. It's just a chill Tetris for a Tuesday. I was gonna say afternoon, but I do these in the morning, don't I? No offense, TGM2. Wait, this song is from the web version of Tetris? That's actually a good question. I don't know where, like, did they, again, wished I could have looked this up. Did they take this music then when they added it from an existing Tetris? I mean, it is Korobeiniki, so it is that folk song, but I don't know if they took it from an already existing Tetris or... Do you recognize it from another Tetris? I mean, it's not the worst. It's definitely not original to the game, like not the original, I mean original N-Blox. Oh, also they switched up the RNG I was going to mention. This is not the original RNG that Paul Neave put in the game. In fact, I think it uses an eight bag system, which I'm also curious about. Oh. Oh no. Also, there's like no... Oh, actually. Hold on, I'm gonna try. Yeah, there's zero lock delay. Like it... Oh, there we go. That's a hard drop. Like once the piece hits the floor, it is done. And that's gonna become an issue very quickly here. See? Yeah, this song is from the web version of Tetris. Oh, interesting. And the lack of IRS is making me sick. This isn't the original. The style doesn't fit the game. There's no ghost piece. A lot of misdrops occurred due to that. Making Tetris is easy. Making guideline Tetris is difficult. Gotcha. Yeah, so they did try to bring some of these into the guideline, or some of the features of this into the guideline. The Tetris company used... Hold on. The original version of N-Blox used a memoryless randomizer to draw pieces. So memoryless, even the like NES, you know, like the version of Tetris I learned to play on, did have a memory. I can't remember how it worked. It was used to simulate randomness, but it basically knew what pieces you had already received. And with the 7 or 8 bag system, obviously it also knows what pieces you've got or have received. So apparently N-Blox before that didn't have any memory of that. But it says later versions, particularly those by the Tetris company, and including the one I'm playing right now, use a variation of the random generator that draws pieces from an 8-piece bag algorithm instead. Oh, okay. Random generator, also popularly known as 7-bag, is the algorithm used to generate the sequence of... All right, that's what I thought. So what is the 8th piece? Does that explain that? While the number of tetraminos in a single random generator bag is canonically 7, some games use bag algorithms with other bag sizes. The public beta of Tetris Online for Japan, Teturisu Online, was an official online multiplayer game for Microsoft Windows. Okay, anyways, we'll look at that later. Used an 8-bag randomizer. Additionally, not all guideline-compliant games use the random generator in all modes. Tetris Worlds and Tetris Green, for instance, use a different randomizer in their square modes. And TGM3 uses its own 35-bag variant of the TGM randomizer, even under world rule. Good gosh. So I still don't... Okay, yeah. Well, should have looked that up. Shai, do you know? This version also has no memory. I got like 4 S pieces in a row. Oh, really? Oh, okay. Maybe they went back to the memoryless randomizer. I will keep an eye on that after I enter my initials here. Maybe. Is it? Look at that. The leaderboard's local, so I'll just be competing against myself here. Let's try a different song, though. Sounds an awful lot like the other song I was just playing. I mean, if it is, again, I'm not... Shai, do you know what they're talking about when they say 8-bag? Like, what's the 8th piece? Because that might make it possible to pull 3 different pieces in a row. It would still be rare. But that would... Oh, boy. What was it you said about there not being a ghost piece and it causes misdrops? Okay, now I'm just taking an extra second to make sure I know what the heck's going on. Okay, that was my fault. That kind of worked out. I knew it the second I hit the button. The no ball kicks is really messing with me too, honestly. Which it shouldn't, because I feel like that's still a relatively new thing to the Tetris games I've been playing. I'm probably still messing myself up by continuing to play Tetris 99 in my off time. I should confine my Tetris play to Tuesdays only. Gross. Somehow that was a Tetris. I think I like this better than the last one. The music-wise, that is, at least. Nope. Don't like that. So, if there's no lock delay. Not that this is an issue. I don't think I can T-spin at all, right? Or, no, I guess there would be like a few frames. I'm gonna guess, because this is kind of like default, right? That the lock delay is just the amount of time it takes a piece to fall normally, right? So there's a little bit of time I could throw in a T-spin if I actually knew how to do that. Man. I feel like I'm especially screwed on the Z pieces. Every time I get one, I have nowhere to put it. Except for that one right there. Okay, here we go. Let's get some more Tetrises on the books. Either wasn't fast enough on that one, or... Nope, why did I move that at all? Oh man, this is the thing, when there's no... Nope. Oh, wow, that was a quick way to die. New high score, though. I remember the TGM randomizer being a weird version of 4-7 bag with more randomness, but I didn't know that it had 35 pieces. Yeah, isn't that crazy? T99 is good, not gonna lie. Yeah, it'll be fun to get there because it's, as far as gameplay goes, like it just goes down really smooth, which like there's nothing fancy about it, you know, like it's pretty standard, but it's, I think, tailor-made for that mode. If it allows you to practice and get better, play it. Yeah, true. Yeah, I can. Using the Royal U, 56 is my high score so far. Shy says that I can T-spin. One would be able to T-spin, let's say. I don't know if I am that one, but it is theoretically possible in this game to T-spin. Wow, I am really making a... Hold on. This will make perfect sense in a second. Just wait, hold on. No, I already screwed it up. Here you go. So yeah, I would be able to T-spin like within that second right there, you know. Should I develop the ability to T-spin, that's where it would happen. Probably got a higher score just because I got more Tetrises out of that last one. Don't know if that's going to happen this time already. I don't think speed has anything to do with scoring on this one. I think hard dropping may... Let's see, hold on. 0 points for dropping, for soft dropping that. Yeah, I at least get some points for hard dropping. Yeah, okay, so yes. Hard dropping and Tetrises are probably the two things that are going to get me points on N-Blox. What is Paul Neave up to nowadays? Why did he write this version of Tetris? Nope. It's about as good as I could have made it. So you said that making a guideline Tetris game was difficult, like you knew what you were talking about. Have you made a Tetris before, Shy? Is this how I find out about your game development skills? I feel like it definitely wasn't you in the chat that mentioned that. I can't remember who it was. I think it's somebody that was only here for like a second, but obviously we have talked about game development before, so maybe you were talking about it from the perspective of a game developer. Or you already told me that and I forgot. These are all possibilities because it's hard to retain information when I'm losing at Tetris. Nope, tried to rotate the opposite direction that time. Did it the wrong way. I would guess, now having played 3 games of this, that this was maybe one of the ones that got picked up, because it is pretty solid. Like there's some janky illegal Tetrises out there for sure, which is probably why the Tetris company saw fit to protect their brand a little bit there, because, you know, anybody could pick up this free version of Tetris and be like, woo, what happened to Tetris? And they would be like, no, that's not us, we promise. But I wouldn't have picked up this version of Tetris and thought, ooh, what happened to Tetris? I would have thought, oh, this is pretty cool. Especially in the early, I guess, 2001 isn't necessarily early web days, but earlier. Well, that was almost 3 O's in a row. You know what it is missing, though? It's missing a sound effect whenever I level up. Probably just stress me out more, but... Ah, dang it. Couldn't make it in time. Wow, it is... This is gonna go bad real quick. That's the thing about no freaking lock delay. Good gosh! Did not beat my last score. I think T-spinning gets very dicey towards what level was I on. Oh, level 11. It's not very fast for level 11 still. I guess they adjust that considering that stuff can go to crap so quickly. Well, you did do a perfect clear in a very high-stress situation and annihilated me. Why shouldn't you be able to do T-spin? That perfect clear was only because of that bonus special piece or whatever it was, but I'll take it. I tried to code it on Unreal Engine 4 and Unity. It didn't really work. Oh, fun. I actually didn't consider something like that. Let's go. Let's say we go until I fill up the leaderboards here. I should have been tagging... This was my second attempt. So my second attempt is ruling right now. I don't think there's any other... Like this more games button does not lead to more Tetris games. It's just other games on what might have been the Tetris Friends website, I guess. Like at this point in the game, I could T-spin. Towards the end, stuff starts moving. It does not seem very possible. Like I couldn't even slide that O piece in. Two O's in a row. See? Again with the... Wait, is that an S piece or a Z piece? Why can I not... Why is that weirding me out right now? How do I... Am I dyslexic? What I should probably do, if I'm going to maximize... Because usually once I get messed up, I kind of drop everything and try to get my playing field cleaned up. Like any good obsessive compulsive would. But if I want to maximize my score, I should probably just, before things get too fast, continue trying to get Tetrises. So let's do that. Nope. There we go. Nope. It's getting dicey already. Now I think I really need to clean up the playing field, no matter what. I rotated the opposite direction. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Might be able to get a few more Tetrises out of this. I don't mind the sound effects either. I could very much see myself latching onto this free version web Tetris. What, oh no. When you were talking about Tetris for web, Shy Abby, or Shy, what were you referring to? Which one? Oh boy. Is there a definitive web Tetris that I mean, there certainly is one that I'm not thinking of. Oh boy. Hey, there we go though. That's a new high for today. The one on the play.tetris thing. Yes. Oh, okay. There is a definitive web Tetris game. Okay. I'm thinking we'll run into it. That's usually how things go, certainly when it comes to bigger companies. I don't know, the Tetris company is a bigger company or official company, but a lot of times it's the clones that pop up. In fact, for most companies, it takes them a lot longer to figure out what Hank and Alexi figured out very quickly, was that you could bring some of these in-house and even, you know, make them better or spread the love, as it were. So it would make sense that stuff like N-Blox would pop up before like an official Tetris web thing, which I guess chronologically I haven't got to yet, so that'll be fun. All right, let's check the leaderboards here. Yep, that was it. So if I can beat 80,000 for this last, we'll call this one the last shot, then it'll be proof that I can be taught to not compulsively. Oh, wait, hold on. Let's try we got one more bit of music we haven't tried yet. Type 3. What could it be? Oh. Sounds pretty close to the 8-bit stuff. Nope. Trying to make a place for that one. That kind of worked out. Boo. Okay, now I gotta clean stuff up. Or not clean it up, but I gotta... Okay, there we go. Kind of. Okay, okay, oh, that's good. Alright, let's do that. Ah, dang it. Okay, had to do that. We can do this. Oh, I guess I had enough, yeah. Getting greedy. Boo. Ah. No! Hey, wait. We've set ourselves up for a T-spin. This is it. This is where I really messed everything up just so I can do a T-spin. Okay, here we go. This is it. Come on. Here we go. Game beat. That's how you beat a Tetris. You do a T-spin. This is not looking like it's going to be my highest scoring game yet, though. Oh, dang it. Oh! Looks like it's going to be my lowest scoring game yet. This is the moment. That was the moment. That was the T-spin game. Once I did a T-spin, it was like, pack it in. Let's just try that all over again. I'm going to stick with this music, though. I can do it. We can beat 80,000. This is it. The real life. You can't go out on an attempt like that. That was not a real attempt. Obviously. This is also not looking like a real attempt already. Oh boy. This is prime Tetris time. I need to be getting actual Tetrises right here if I'm going to get a score that's worth anything. Alright, here we go. Come on. Back in it. There's one. figure out how to... That's going to be an issue later. How to rotate both directions on Tetris 99 is what I need to do. Okay, I'm going to cut my losses here and kill myself. It's not what I was going to do, but... Okay, there we go. Are all of these from the online Tetris game that you were referring to? All the songs, that is? Would still make sense if that's what they did. That's not great. Or is that? Or is that? Nor is that. Alright, at this point I just need to get the level down. Or I will die. Yeah, see, I didn't even... That's gonna come back to bite me. Wow, that really, that 0.00003 second lock delay towards the end there is really what gets you. First one definitely, the second one seems familiar. I don't know about the third one, yeah. I bet they were taken somewhere from, I mean, it is just the same song remixed instead of 3 different songs, which did also happen really often with Tetrises. Although it seems like there's a few there we were playing where it was just like, there wasn't a music choice even, I want to say. But there you go. 80,000 is what I'm topping out at for N-Blox this week. Next week is almost as exciting. Oh, right, I was going to mention, so a lot of these are going to fall by the wayside. If you'll go look at that official Tetris games list, there's a bunch that developer and publisher, for that matter, G-Mode did, like Mini Tetris 2, Tetris Outdoor. I think some of these are for Japanese mobile as well, which would make them doubly difficult to not only emulate, but also find in the wild in some way. Game preservation. There's the thing that people do. I couldn't find a way to do these rather than to find a device that already had it on there, and that was not in the cards for this one. Needs to be there needs to be something more to it than just, you know, like if I'm buying another Tetris Junior. That's one thing. If I'm buying like a mobile phone. If it was a mobile, that's what I need to look at. If it was a mobile phone that I used to have that has a Tetris game on it, that would be worth it. Because, you know, sometimes you think about those old cell phones that you used to have. And was it the Sony Ericsson? I don't remember, but it was a Sony Ericsson. There's probably a Nokia in there that I had for a bit. Don't remember any Tetris games on any of them. Wow, that was a weird way to say that. I don't remember any Tetris games on any of them, but yeah, the Java phones. That's what it is. Yes. Shai, you are definitely a coder of some sort, a web in the know person. Because yes, they were a series of Java games, which they did. I got excited for a second because it was called like Gmode Classics or something like that. They actually did something that came out on the Switch in like 2020 or something, which had a bunch of their old games, but they only had one Tetris game on there. It was called like Diamond Tetris, and I haven't even got to that point. Didn't come out in 2001, I can tell you that much. So maybe I'll figure out something for those, but I wouldn't hold your breath, in which case we will be doing Tetris Worlds next week, the Game Boy Advance version. And that might be one, since it is kind of a, like I said, a watershed. I've been hearing about it for some time now, because every time I look up something about the Tetris guidelines or whatever, it mentions Tetris Worlds, because it was the first official game to feature the then newly standardized Tetris guideline. This includes SRS, hold piece, locking hard drop, infinity, move reset, and standard Tetramino colors. So it's the first game apparently, because I've played plenty of games where it's like pieces of it are there. Sometimes even most of the pieces, you know, it'll be like this was Sega Rotation, but with these changes to it, which essentially made it SRS or Super Rotation. But never, apparently, before Tetris Worlds had they put it all together, made a Tetris guideline, standardized it, blah, 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 blah. And that was Tetris World. So I think it might be worth it to look at the Game Boy Advance version, look at the PlayStation 2 version. I'm going to guess there's not a ton of difference between the PlayStation 2, GameCube, and Xbox versions of the game. But those came out in 2002 even. So Tetris Worlds, that's where we're headed. I'll break it up chronologically, so we'll just do the Game Boy Advance one, and then we'll figure out. It might be something we revisit rather than just doing. I don't know. What do you think, Shai? Do I do Tetris Worlds and then stick chronologically with whatever comes, and then when a new Tetris World came out for a new platform, I sprinkle that in, or do I just do all the Tetris Worlds back to back and we see how they stack up against each other? What do you think? Shai in the chat. I used to play Tetris on that back in middle school. Oh, hold on. Java phones, yes. Shai had a Java phone. Used to play Tetris on that back in middle school when my mom took away my smartphone so I could focus more on studying. Nice. Sounds like a good mom. Oh well, I'll go order some pizza then. Have a good one yourself. Yep. Looking forward to Tetris Worlds next week. Maybe we can do all three versions in one stream. Are you trying to kill me? Come on. You know how long it takes me to get like one platform up and running? Actually, that's not true. Now that we're in the modern age-ish, it is a little bit easier. Getting my PlayStation 2 emulator up and running. Or maybe I just finally go buy a PlayStation 2. That's the problem, Abby, or Shai. That's why you're trying to kill me, is because now I'm like, oh, well, I'm going to need a PlayStation. Maybe I finally buy a PlayStation 2, one of the best-selling, most beloved consoles of all times that I've never owned or played. I've never played a PlayStation 2. So that's my problem. Yes, let's do them all at once. No, it is possible. It is possible. I'm just trying to figure out how dedicated I am. You don't need to buy a PS2 just for Tetris Worlds. Okay. Shai, the voice of reason, yet again. Talking me off the ledge, as it were, every week in some way or another. If you have any other reasons that justifies your purchase, go for it. No, I don't. I've got a perfectly good... I've not touched the emulator. I've got RetroArch up and running on my Series S. I have not touched or set up the PS2 emulator on there, so that would obviously be the easier and cheaper way to do it. So no, I will try. I'll tell you what I will do. I will try and not come up with another reason to buy a PlayStation 2. So that'll be my challenge. Shy, my reasons would be Tekken 5, Yakuza, Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition Remix, and Resident Evil 4. Well, you did name 1, 2, 3, Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition Remix, I'm going to say is one game. 4 games that I have never played, so you're not helping your case. I might have to get a PS2, finally. Anyway, thanks for hanging out, as always, Shy included, and especially. If you want comic book stuff, we're on hiatus over on Chasers for a bit, but you can go back and catch up on Season 3 or 2 and 1 for that matter. 2 and 1 are on this channel on Ryan Runs. 3 is where we branched out into its own thing, but that's on hiatus until we are less busy, because we got to bank some of those episodes so they come out on a weekly basis. But I'm gonna say, locked in to the new Friday, or new, like, I was real good on getting my episodes of Cinematic out every Friday for a while there until I wasn't. So I'm back on it. I skipped a week so I could start banking, so I am a little bit ahead of schedule. So there should be a new one of those out on Friday. Otherwise, you know, whatever else comes to mind, really. That's how the channel runs. I've got an idea. I did an episode last week on pins that I collected at PAX for the past 15 or so years. So there's no rhyme or reason or limit to what I might do. Shy Abby, I might check it out. Have a good one. As well, have a good one, Shy Abby. Shy, sorry. It's going to take me a while to adjust. I'm more of a nickname, like the last half of the name is the nickname, but I'll get there. Don't worry. Shy. We'll see you next week.